And we are live.
Hi.
Wow, I really hope, you know what I didn't think about was Wi-Fi connection, so I really hope that my signal maintains throughout this commentary because it is going to be absolutely amazing. Hey everybody, it's your girl Iberia sitting here with my co-host, Johonna.
How are ya?
You know what, we've decided to kind of, step outside of the studio.
Yeah.
So
it is saved in the city.
It's saved
right?
and the
This
city.
is the city.
We're out here in the city, specifically at Mayfair Mall today, and just kind of hanging out. And, there's been so much talk about the Black Panther movie and just a lot of different things going on, especially in this month because it is Black History Month.
Yes.
And I thought it would be a great opportunity for us from a Christian girl's perspective to talk about a few things since we didn't have our third co-host with us here today. So let's just maybe start kind of with that. What have you been doing for the Red, Black, and Green month, the Black History Month? Anything?
You know what? It's Black History Month 365 in my world.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how we do.
Yeah.
In my household. I will say that, it will always and forever hold a special place in my heart. Mm-hmm. It does feel a little bit different since we have some different leadership politically. So,
mm-hmm.
that whole feel is different. However, it's a part of who I am. It's a part of who my husband is, my mama, my daddy.
Absolutely.
And even though my family is diverse ethnically, which I appreciate. However, I was born African American. I was born Black. I'm gonna die Black, right? That'll never change.
Yes.
So, it's a part of who I am. I will say that, I had the opportunity, such as you, we kind of share a similar experience in that we both went to HBCUs.
Right.
And
right,
that just
right.
means
Howard,
historic. Yes.
you.
GSU. I thought you knew.
Oh.
I thought you knew.
I thought
I can hear the music in my head.
Yeah.
Gee. Yes.
Somebody's taking a trip down memory lane.
Yeah. Well, we were on 10 all the time.
All the time.
But I will say that, I went to public school here in the city of Milwaukee, and up until I got to high school, I went to Riverside University High School after that, which was a public high school. Mm-hmm. After that, I was very excited about going to college. And for me, it was a historically Black university. When I got there, that was the beginning of me being woke, what that terminology refers to is just, my own level of consciousness that was brought in by everyday life, my professors, the culture that was there. And so that really was a turning point for me. I think for my cultural awareness, and it became a way of life for me because we celebrated it like every day. So you wake up and you're around. It was my own Wakanda.
I'm telling you, baby, Wakanda don't even exist. Listen, and people, we about to move.
I'm like, take me. Can I just go? Can I just go?
No, you can't go. You cannot. It's not real.
It doesn't exist.
But now we can create it like Disney. This is a Disney movie. They can create a whole Wakanda land and we can go there.
I want it to be real.
We can create Wakandas in our heart.
Yes.
But I've had a very similar experience to you as far as like the HBCU vibe, and I went to Howard University, the real HU, and so exactly. And your brother, Leroy. So anyhow. For me, that was my wake-up call, I guess, my, woke moment, too, as far as, being aware of the beauty of Black culture and and being completely accepted. That was just an amazing experience for me. Oh, my
goodness.
Because what I was telling her, because there's a lot of people that I know that don't really do anything for Black History Month, and my family included. Nobody does anything specifically for Black History Month, and, maybe with their kids, because of the schools. But for me, you know, after having that personal experience, I was able to then kind of create my own world, my own personal Wakanda, if you will.
Absolutely.
You know, and so I started studying things because of that exposure.
Yeah.
And so, you know, so shout out to Black folk on this month.
Shout out to HBCUs. Can we just say that?
HBCUs, just for their awareness. Because I remember, honestly, when I did my English class, that was the cool part about being at an HBCU. It wasn't just studying English. Like our entire English semester, the curriculum was based around SNCC, which was the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, which is something I learned, you know, it was like learning about this kind of Black Panther movement, and not the movie, but the actual, this was like the younger people before the actual Black Panthers that came into existence. And I learned that just trying to, you know, learn how to conjugate a verb, you know, that they mixed it all in. They mixed it all in, which was really, really cool. And so, you know, because of that, I've taken it with me, but unfortunately there's a lot of people that don't really have any connection to their culture. And that's what this month is for. You know, so if you haven't done anything for Black History, I would, you know, encourage you to do something. You know, it's the same way when people, with any other kind of holiday, when people are talking about like Valentine's Day and all these different things, and people say, well, you know, I celebrate it all year, but you can still do something during the month.
Right.
as well. But I think this is kind of a cool segue because another reason that Black Panther, now we can kind of get into the movie because I know that a lot of you are joining specifically for that.
So let's just start with the history of Black Panther.
Okay.
And so, you know, I'm not really a Marvel comic girl.
Yeah.
However, you know, just kind of listening to some of the backdrop about how the movie came about, you know, it was a comic.
Yeah.
And about 3 months prior to or after the comic came out, that's when the Black Panthers actually came out, like right after that.
They named themselves after that movie?
And so I don't know the relation, right? But I know that they took on the same name. And so that this part of, you know, Africans, there's a place in Africa where they kind of worshipped, and you see that come through in the movie. The Black Panther, like, it has significance for them, the strength of it, right? And so anyway, you know, thinking about that, and so initially the person who drew the comic, he drew the comic with kind of like the bottom half of the face exposed, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so where you could see the brown skin. Well, when the comic went to be printed, the people who printed the comic, they didn't want any backlash because of the superhero was black and not white. Right. So what they ended up doing is covering his whole face. Like, so that the whole helmet thing went over his whole face. And so if you think about like Batman,
right.
Like,
it's just the eyes.
Yeah. But did you know that?
I did not know that. Fun fact.
Yeah.
There, you know.
So thinking about, you know, just the whole context of the actual comic, and the fact that that's one of, and I don't know if it's the only, you know, you guys can chime in if you're comic fans, if that is the only black. It's not, because Luke Cage is one.
Yeah, there are some, but like on this, at this magnitude and this level, we haven't seen it.
I don't think there's any comparison to anything,
you know, like
out
that.
There.
I mean, well, you know, they tried to do a Catwoman.
Oh,
you know, but it just was like watered down. Well, I mean, when Eartha Kitt it was kind of cool, but then when Halle Berry took it, it was just kind of like,
no pun intended.
No pun. Pretty much, you know. But you know, the other thing though too, that's a great little history that I had no idea about. But what I was sharing with Johonna, you know, and even kind of tying back into what we were talking about, you know, with Black History and us having kind of an HBCU experience, is that, and we'll get deep into the movie, guys, no worries. The main character, I just feel some type of way because I know him.
Let's talk about that.
We was in the same class. You know, that's what I'm talking about when I talk about Black excellence, honey.
Yes.
And seeing him achieve.
Come on, let's scoot up close.
That's what I feel, because I was like, who around? You know, you got to, because everybody ain't ready for the Black excellence. But I'm sorry. We're at Mayfair. But anyway, you know, so for me, we'll talk about the impact that the movie itself has had, exactly, it's hilarious, has had on our culture. But me being a Howard University grad and knowing Chad Boseman, knowing him not just talking about knowing him when he wasn't looking as fine as he's looking on today, knowing him when he had cornrows, kicking it in the Fine Arts Building. You know what I mean? All of us striving, trying to reach this level, and he did it, and he broke through. He broke through, and not just with Black Panther, because he was also in 42. That was the Jackie Robinson story. He played James Brown. So this is not just, he's not just a breakout star. He's been doing this for a minute. And I also recently learned that it was I can't remember exactly. I want to say Oprah, but don't misquote me. There was a few people that paid for him to go.
Denzel Washington.
Thank you.
And Felicia Rashad.
Thank you. Denzel Washington and Felicia Rashad paid for him to go to school. Where was it?
I think it was Oxford or something like that. Yeah.
I love
Ivy League.
So after his graduation from you got to go to that next level, and they did that, and I love that. And so, like I said, there's so many other aspects of, if we get out of the fantasy part of the movie, just these actors, Lupita in this role where we see her as a standard of beauty.
Oh my God.
And she's dark skinned with natural hair.
Let's talk about the natural hair. How about that?
Everybody else going deep. We want to talk about the hair and the outfits. We'll start there.
Let's start there. That's a great way. Oh my God. So let's just say that, first of all, before we get into the hair, the attitude or the portrayal of confidence was amazing. So for so long, I feel like we've seen, we've had some good movies. We've had some great movies. We've got some great African-American film writers and producers that have definitely, they're making a name for themselves, right?
Yeah.
They're doing great. But, Africa is often portrayed by, starvation, slavery,
flies stuck on your face.
Listen, inferiority, right? Corruption,
malnourished belly. I'm sorry. That's all I see.
Little bees.
That's what I'm saying. The little eyes and you see that.
Listen, it was none of that. And you know what? I feel like it was such a way to depict our beauty, right? Our beauty, like at the core of us. And so the natural hair, paying homage to our natural beauty, the women with the bald head. How about that?
I just was obsessed. I was obsessed with everything.
Too.
And here's why.
I was like drooling, like my mouth was open, like.
It was just the most visually pleasing thing I've seen in a while.
Absolutely.
And the other part of it, I think too, and this is no shade at all to other ethnicities or even biracial people, but if you notice that usually when they have a representation of a black person in a movie, it's a biracial representation. These folks was blackety black, honey. Kinky hair, and it made me, honestly, a part of me, if this hair was not glued onto my head, when I was watching that movie, I would have snatched it off right along with that sister who said, what did she say? Take this mess off my head.
She said, take this mess off my head. And
honey, and they had her spear. I felt pride.
And she used it as a weapon. How about that? She was like, take that. And she took her.
Baby, more of us need to use these wigs and weaves as a weapon.
Listen, I'm trying to tell you. And so, you know what? I can't lie. It did something for me as well. I am, although I am black to the core, I have been Europeanized as well, right? You know what I mean? I think all of us have to some degree. But at the same time, like, I so appreciate.
Can we just sidebar real quick? Tony said, this is the exact line she said. She said the wig was a disgrace.
It was a disgrace.
Adrienne really Ebel said she feel like speaking in tongues right now. Because, honey, with them bald heads and
listen, with the bald heads, I absolutely.
And then the women empowered too. But this is the thing. This is what I love. They showed the women and like with I forget what you call those warriors.
But they almost kind of had an air about themselves. Like they walked in the building, like in the event, like, what's up? We here. Like let the show begin.
Unapologetic,
like
Wakanda.
Yeah. Where's your digits?
I really want to get a tattoo to just Wakanda forever. Okay, squad, absolutely. Walked in, squad like we. Oh my God. Honestly, okay, no shade to T'Challa, because I love the Black Panther, but what was the main warrior that was like the ultimate armor bearer? What was her name?
Oh, her name is Ayo.
Ayo. Was it Ayo?
Something like that. Florence
Ayo. Ayo, the main No, here. Oki. It was her.
It was Oki.
Yes, honey. I want her to have her own movie.
Oh, listen.
She can have her own movie because she was
I'm telling
loyal.
you, she represented that role. She rocked it out to the maximum level. A loyal Black woman.
I love it. But see, this is what I love. They showed the women in extreme power, even defending and the men in some ways, but the men were still kings.
Yeah,
so it wasn't, and so that's been an issue though, that people were saying that some of the male roles were diminished, with some of the women roles overshadowing.
I don't think so. They did a great job of serving and even knowing that he's the king. Like even the sister. So if you take the sister, she knew like she was a supporting role for her brother, right? Too. As the king.
What was the handshake?
I don't know what it was, but I really appreciate how like she knew she could never be king, right? But she was the supporting role. Like they kind of had I love their relationship.
I loved it.
Yeah, it was great. But then she had her brother's back. He said, "Don't worry, sister. It's gonna be a time for you." And so when he got into his fight scene, he did something.
Yeah.
And then the little thing came up and she jumped right in the car and she was like, "I got you, brother."
I love it. Somebody said that we so into this right now. Next year we're gonna be naming our kids Wakanda Nisha.
I don't think so.
But you know what? Okay, so this is us. This is our view of it. But we understand that you guys have your own kind of thoughts and opinions, and we've been reading some of your commentary. And there is so, I don't know if it's division. I like the fact that it's causing so many people to talk about the movie.
Yeah.
But one of the narratives that's portrayed, of course, is that, well, okay, I guess we could stick with the women aspect of it and then move on to kind of the division between T'Challa and Killmonger. Who you with?
Yeah.
Who you with?
Who are you with? Are you team
T'Challa
or team
Killmonger?
I'm going to tell you who I'm with and why.
Who you with?
You really want to know?
I do want to know.
Okay, let me finish your thought. And then
so this was something else that I read that kind of completely threw me off about Killmonger. They're saying that if you are a supporter of Killmonger, now remember, Killmonger was the nemesis. He was the bad guy.
The villain.
The villain. And they're saying that if you are supporting him, then you are also supporting an abuser of women.
Really?
And some other things like that. And so then they bring up some examples,
and that was because he choked and hit some women.
But beyond choked and antagonist, exactly, Tony. Now beyond choked, no, remember he had a girlfriend.
Yeah,
he shot her in the head.
He did, and he lied to her. He said it's gonna be.
He said it's gonna be all right.
And then 2 seconds later, she was on the ground, and I was like, wait,
that's too much, and so he killed. And then if you remember the old lady, one of the elder women who was protecting the herbs, he strangled the grandmama.
He did. And so this is what I think. I think that he was so diehard because of his cause that anybody that got in the way of the plan, he was taking them out. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and I think that people, I don't know, everybody wants to pinpoint it and make it one thing in particular, but I do feel like he was by any means necessary. It didn't matter if it was a woman, a child, or whatever, and so and he had a reason behind it because he was a child, when he was left. So then I guess that kind of brings up the other narrative. You have the Wakandans that are kind of exclusively, in themselves, dealing with their own people, protecting their own people that are part of the Wakandan tribe, just them. Yeah. And then you have the lost children of Wakanda. And many people are saying that African American people are represented by the lost children of Wakanda. So because we were the ones that were left behind.
Right. So let me just say this, that I understand the villain's pain. I get it. Like, I understand he was hard.
Look at Delonda.
His heart, he was heartbroken, and he had some issues. But, you know, I'm just speaking. If I'm from Wakanda, if I'm from there, and look at the beauty of it, the beautiful place, I'm trying to preserve it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the dad was wrong. The king was wrong. He was wrong for not getting the baby. Yeah. However, I understand the fact that he was looking out for his kingdom. That's different than looking out for just one. And so I think that he should have set something up on Earth for him so he could be well taken care of, like little stash of cash and, you know, put him with some resources. But we're talking about an entire kingdom that has been established for generations to come. Right. And so I think that he could have done a better job of
You're
resolving.
talking about the king, not T'Challa.
No,
his father.
His father, right? And so I think that he should have done a better job of resolving the issues of was it his brother? Or his...
You mean Killmonger? Killmonger was his cousin.
His cousin. So I'm talking about the dad, the king, and...
then that was his brother.
Yeah, his brother. They had some issues that they really should have resolved. And how about this? Look at what happens when unresolved issues... It impacted a whole nation.
Wow.
Because of some unresolved issues. Yeah. That's amazing, right?
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot of like undertone things that happen that we probably don't even have a chance to discuss. But I believe that, you know, Killmonger represents a group of people.
Yes.
Right?
I truly believe so.
And T'Challa represents a group of people, right? And so both of them are trying. Okay. And so I think both of them were trying to protect, defend what they felt so passionately about. But I do feel like the nemesis, Killmonger, he was out of going up in somebody's kingdom. You going in somebody's kingdom and you trying to regulate for real?
Yeah. But he felt like it was his. Because he was heir to the throne as well.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And he felt... See, the thing is, he was left. And that's the part what we were kind of talking about.
Well, he was a half-brother.
He was a cousin.
Yeah, he was half, though. His mama was from the U.S.
Oh. Was that right?
Yes, T'Challa.
I gotta see it again.
No, listen. Remember he said his brother...
Read what Delonda said. Sidebar. Read what Delonda
said. Delonda says, absolutely. Hurts, unhealed, turn into... That's right, Delonda. Absolutely.
Turn into bitterness, resentment, all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, you know, Forrest Whitaker in his role, the maid, he had
somebody
to tell...
said Wakanda fixed Forrest Whitaker. Because it wasn't wondering no more.
Listen. Get off of Forrest Whitaker. I like Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, he was good. That hurt my heart when he died.
Yes. So he had to give up the information to the king, right? To Chadwick. Yeah. And so what he said, tell me what happened, right? Yeah. And he said, your uncle fell in love with a human. Like, fell in love with the U.S.
Oh, I missed that part.
And there was a baby that was had.
Okay, that makes sense.
And out of that baby, the baby was the son.
You want to sidebar real quick on, what's his name from This Is Us?
Oh, Randall.
We're going to sidebar real quick.
Shout out to Randall, whose real name is Sterling Brown. When I said, is that Randall from This Is Us?
That was Sterling Brown from This Is Us, y'all. We are really excited about Sterling Brown.
Oh, my God. So I'm such a huge fan of This Is Us.
He was only in the beginning.
He was only in the beginning. I mean, I didn't really like that, but he was great. And then also, shout out to Get Out, the guy Daniel.
Yeah.
I was like, is that Get Out?
Listen, it was a dude from Get Out. I seen a meme that went across with, they showed him, the guy from Get Out with the white girl, and then they showed a picture of him with Killmonger, and they said, when discernment ain't your gift. I said, ooh, he standing strong when both of them was taking him down. He was the best.
Yeah.
Oh my God, where we at, child?
Okay. So anyway, I think that first of all, the cast was all-star, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Angela Bassett. What a pillar of strength she was, right? And those white
gray dreads.
Those
gray dreads when she came out that hat. Okay, can I say the one I had a little struggle with was the lip. The dude with the lip. Every time he came on, I had to laugh. Even though I know it's something beautiful in Wakanda. Every time that dude came on with I was like, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about he had that big thing in his lip.
Yeah, that's for real. Like, that's a real thing.
I'm like, how do you? Okay, that's something else.
That's like a tribal thing. We don't understand because we're not from there,
right.
Brandy.
See, so to them, this is ridiculous, and then to me, I'm looking at that thing in his lip like, what the heck, you know? Right. So it's all cultural. But okay, so we have literally left our back.
Hey, Auntie. Right, that's exactly what it said.
Right, Angela. So back to the whole narrative thing. Y'all crazy.
Oh my God, this makes me so excited. Like, I feel like I want to see it all over again.
We should see it all over again.
We need a viewing party.
Let's do a viewing party and talk about it afterwards. So here's the thing. So when we say, who are you with, T'Challa or Killmonger, I understand both sides. Because really, Killmonger had the idea that he wanted to liberate.
Yeah, he did.
He wanted to liberate black people globally, like all over the world, and not just keep it. And here's the thing, T'Challa was a new regime. You know, he understood later. That's why when he went back into the ancestor in the snow, wherever he was at, when he went back, he told his father, you know what, you was wrong.
He was. And so I like you, I understand. And so I understand both perspectives, but I believe that Killmonger, is that his name? Killmonger. I think he was just wrong. Like, it's a perfect representation to me of new money and old money, right?
Yeah.
New money, it's like they don't know how to act. Like, we coming up in here, we about to do some stuff, right? The old money looking at them like, really?
Yeah.
For real? Did you see the elders? The elders, when he walked up in
kind
there.
of, yeah.
Yeah, and so the elders were like, okay, who is this? Right? They looking like, why are you talking?
Yes.
You got permission to talk?
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know what? You have to realize that there is a way. When systems are in place, there is a way in which you have to approach the system, regardless of what you think about it. Right? From work to church to whatever type of organization it is, you don't come in trying to regulate. Don't do that.
Don't do that. What do you think about, so there's a lot of people that say, here we go again, black on black. Because they were fighting against each other, in some of the parts of the land. So what are your thoughts on that?
You know what? I could very clearly see it depicted in our culture today.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like it's definitely reflected in, how we live. I was saying, look, they're destroying their beautiful land. Right? It's bombs going on. And, their whole little technology hub.
Right.
They destroyed it. Right? And so it's like,
right.
dang, really? But at the same time, because they're such a resourceful people, I feel like they can bounce back from it.
Yeah.
But because the Killmonger, he did not want to take a logical approach to solving his problem, and because of that, there were casualties. And I think that if you look at our current political system right now, where people don't want to necessarily hear all sides, they just, this is what we're doing. We building a wall. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
Exactly.
It's nothing to talk about. And so I think we see it displayed in not just our community, but all over, the world, in that this is what happens when we cannot come together and have a logical conversation about our differences and how we can solve those differences. And so then it becomes disastrous, and in the end, somebody has to die.
And I get that I'm glad that you see it that way. I see it that way in some regard, but as far as the people looking on, a lot of people are saying, here we go again. Okay, now we're in Wakanda, but we're still showing this black on black violence. When are we going to have a movie that shows us, like, kumbaya, we shall overcome type thing constantly throughout? But I think that here's the thing, because I'm not new to the comic book world. Like, I've seen Thor, I've seen when we're dealing with the Avengers overall, I've seen Captain America, Iron Man, all of them, Hulk. Like, it wasn't anything. personally, I don't think it had anything specifically to do with trying to show, they might have used some of that narrative, but try to show black people against black people. If you think about superhero movies overall, you always have like the nemesis. Oh, here's the brother against the brother.
You do, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's the dark brother against the light brother. It's this, is, you know, so I don't think it was like, okay, it's black people. Let's now create this environment where they're going to fight each other. I think they were showing the backstory like they did with all of the other ones. In Thor, it was brother against brother.
That's true.
You know, and they show the backstory in their land, you know, of what happened.
Yeah. And so, and probably, you know, another part of that is that it's so rare that we are both the superhero and the nemesis in the same movie.
And I like that.
Yeah.
And they were like, why did you use the black man for the nemesis? I like that. Like, let's have a cool superhero. You know what I mean? Because that's the one thing that I noticed with superheroes is that majority, I mean, not superheroes, the bad guy in most of these superhero movies, they start with a seed of goodness. Like, there's a reason why they want to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, a lot. It's like these kind of scientists that have this idea to make the world better, but then something twists.
Yeah.
And then they, you know, the power gets to them. And I think that's what happened with Killmonger. I think he initially had this idea, like, you know what, you know, I'm going to turn my pain into purpose. But then the power took over.
Well, see, and I would have liked to have seen more of his story. You know what I mean? They didn't show his mom. They didn't show.
This is only
his
Black
life.
Panther 1. We got more to come. I know it.
Yeah.
Honey, they had like 400 million.
And
Ain't
so,
nobody stopping.
Well, then not only that, at the end of the credits, it said that they were going to be a part of the Avengers.
Yeah, that's what it is. All of these separate movies, Thor, Captain America, Black Panther, has all been a lead up to the one movie where they're all going to, even Wonder Woman, where they're all going to come together and fight.
Okay.
And so that's why I'm looking at it more than just, I'm a black person watching this movie. I'm a comic book fan. At least it's movies. I don't want to read the comic books, but I like the movies.
Yeah.
You know, so and even Spider-Man, he's going to come on in there. So it's all of that. So if we look at it like a superhero.
Well, I thought Luke Cage was kind of dope too. Like, I kind of like Luke Cage.
I've not watched Luke Cage.
Oh, you gotta watch Luke Cage.
I gotta watch Luke Cage. But that's my, you know, so that was my whole thought. So yes, I do believe that all the narratives that people are talking about, that they do exist in the movie. But I think that it really was just, well,
we don't know. We don't know. You know,
I did watch Wonder Woman. I thought she was in it. Didn't they just do one? And wasn't she fighting with Captain America?
Was. I don't know if she's a Marvel, though.
She may not be a Marvel, but isn't she one of the Avengers?
I don't know if she is. She might be. I don't know. She's a superhero, though.
Either way, what I'm saying is that, you know, we're taking it so deep because we ain't never seen nothing like it.
Right. That's really the point. It's the point.
You know, unfortunately, other races have... that's why we need, we were going to have Redante here with us. He was going to help us keep us on track with who the Avengers was and who the other people was. But unfortunately...
Stop laughing, Tony.
Unfortunately, African American people, we don't have a lot of choices, you know, when it comes to what you can identify with, especially when you're a child, you know. And I saw this meme that went around. It was really cool. He said, this is why this means so much to us. And it showed like these little boys, like, saying, I'm this one, I'm that one, you know, and it was beautiful. And then it says it's an opportunity for us not to be depicted as a slave, not to be depicted as, like you said, all of that confidence. I mean, I really wanted to just shave my hair off.
You know what? So can we just say, how about how the movie ended? And so at the end, like, it didn't just end where, you know, that was it and Wakanda was saved. You know, it ended where he came back to the place where the turmoil started, and he bought basically the whole neighborhood, right?
And then here comes the spaceship down.
I know.
And here are the kids, even though they speaking in their dialect or whatever and saying, you know, man, I steal whatever they were saying. But in my heart, I just felt good because I'm like, that's the beginning.
It is.
For our people, just to see something different. And so the majority of the intellectuals that are having all of these debates about the deeper narrative in this, for those people who aren't woke, I'm telling you, for them, it just just seeing something different is life changing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And it was for me. You know, it was for me. And just imagine, you know, what it's doing for the little kids, the little boys. I don't have
the
boys.
Little girls.
Yeah, and the little girls.
Little dark girls.
I know. Ooh. I mean, so just no long Barbie hair. You know what I mean? No,
right.
You know the
and then the black love, honey.
Oh, can we talk about the black love? Can we just talk about the black love? I mean, like, I'm so for Lupita and Chadwick, like, getting together. And so even though, you know, at the end, they walked to the press conference together, right? And she's, like, standing. She's not, so I love the fact that she had her own life, right?
Yeah.
So a traditional queen in a movie is like, you know, where we make decisions. Basically, the king makes decisions, and the queen supports, which I'm for that, right? But the fact that she was like right with her dude, right? Like, he was taking names, and so was she. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, she was on the one floor fighting, and he was in another area fighting. It's like, you know, how much better can you get than
And
that?
that's what I was saying. When their relationship was great too, but just in general, the way they show the dynamic of the African men and the African women it really, there was submission in some senses to the king and loyalty to certain things, but at the same time, it was like you said, they stood on their own. You had women warriors.
Absolutely.
It was another point that you had made about loyalty. You remember that?
I think maybe it was
to the warrior that was loyal to Killmonger.
Yeah, so she was so loyal. Her name escapes me. Just 1 second, y'all. What's the you guys help me out.
Oku.
What was
the main I almost want to say a bad word. Like, she was like the baddest chick.
Yeah, a Kawi.
Ooh, I love her.
Name.
I want her to have her own movie.
Oh my gosh, she was so dope. She was so raw. She was such the business, and she was such a loyal black woman to the king, but not only that, to her position and to her country. You know, she was loyal. And so even when it was painful for her to be loyal, because she was connected to...
on a deeper level.
Yeah, she was connected. She was in relationship with the king. But when he got defeated, she made a vow. And she honored her vow. You know, such a woman of integrity, and I so appreciate it, until it got to the point where, you know what, she realized that the vow, like the office, was not as important as the people. Yeah,
that's good. That's so good. And now, so what was your thoughts on, let's see if we used to get his name, the one that was like, ooh, 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 ooh. I kind of felt offended. Like, don't be monkey. He sounded like a monkey. The king that ended up saving his life, the other guy, Winston Duke. See, remember, he had to battle him for battle T'Challa for the crown initially, and he lost. But then T'Challa spared his life. Yeah. And so and for me, that was just a good point, because a lot of times, you know, people have this, for those people who are team Killmonger, is that whole by any means necessary. Yeah. Now, what if T'Challa would have took him out when he had the opportunity? T'Challa, the Black Panther, would have took out Winston Duke when he had the opportunity. When he fell, when he was pushed off that ledge, then there wouldn't have been anyone there to recover him. So that's why you got, you know, that's what you were talking about. You can think about yourself, or you can think about the kingdom. Absolutely. And when you think about the whole thing, the thing as a whole, then it gives you a different perspective. Now, there was another thing where there was someone who had an issue with the white guy flying the plane. Oh,
I had a problem with them.
Okay, go ahead.
Can I just say this? This is just me being honest.
Oh, that was a bark? They said it was a bark, not a wood. It sounded like a monkey to me.
Let me just say this, y'all. I had a problem with them bringing the FBI guy into the kingdom, Wakanda. I didn't like it. I was like, don't bring him in there. Don't bring him in there. Stuff is gonna change. It's gonna change. Don't bring him in there. You know, I just felt like he because of my own understanding of what Europeans have done to Africans.
Right, the colonization, yes, all of that.
I felt like if you bring him into this, he is going to be enlightened and he's going to try to steal your resources.
Yeah.
And before you know it, they're going to try to make y'all into some slaves. You see how damaged I am?
I didn't, and
I promise you, I thought about it. They gonna try the government. You got the strongest resources in the world,
baby.
And
what was it called?
What's that stuff called, y'all? It wasn't kryptonite. No, wrong movie.
Verbatim.
Whatever it was.
Valkyrie. Anyway.
Velcro.
Oh, I got these Velcro rollers that this is what keeps this kind of. Anyway. Look, Tony know everything. Bert, say it.
Vibranium.
Yes.
So the vibranium was their resource, right? And so it's like you're bringing in the man. I know that's so horrible.
But a lot of people are with you on that. I'll be honest. I didn't think twice about that little white man up in there.
I did.
I
was like, he connected to the FBI.
People were so upset because he was the one that flew the plane, and
he did a great job though.
But I was happy. Like I think what it was symbolic of was symbolic of change. It was symbolic of Wakanda coming out of their safe place.
Well, so let me just tell you this, because this is saved in the city. Can I just let you in on a secret?
Yes.
I was praying for the people. I was like, Lord, please. You know what? You can't take it out of me. Please, Lord, please.
But that's funny. That's how we do though. That's how God is. God's already seen the movie. He already know how, and we, oh Lord, Jesus.
Oh Lord, please don't let the man take over the resources.
Was you hold somebody? Oh Jesus, let's touch and agree. Please. Touch and agree.
Don't do it.
All I know is that I didn't have. I think it was symbolic of change, because they were going to go to the United Nations at some point, and you do have to have someone on your side.
I mean, yeah,
and not everyone that is of a different ethnicity.
It's true.
And I think that's the bigger. And I know there's some black people that are just like, keep everybody out, but that's not. If we're, again, this is saving the city, and if we are believers, then at some point we do. Everybody, all nations, have to come together.
Yeah, I do.
But
and
maybe
I think
not in Wakanda.
You know what? It's a little part of Wakanda before you get beamed up. You know, that little first part, maybe they can come there.
They come to the little part. They just can't come all the way in.
No, but I know. I mean, I get it. But even though I'm still kind of side-eyeing the FBI agent, like,
I don't
know. What is he going to do in the second movie? Like, is he going to be...
Did you say all the way through the end? Because it had 2 comeback parts.
It did. Oh, so then at the end, like...
White Wolf, or whatever the man is.
I know.
Now,
so
he's apparently some type of...
Baby Jesus?
No, he's like an assassin. He's some kind of assassin that they saved or something like that. I don't know much about that part. But what I do know... Dang it, I lost my thought. They can't... That's what people don't like. They don't like that we mix a few little white people in there. But I think it was all right.
Yeah, I think it was all right. No, I think it was fine. It was good. The movie was so...
Oh, that's the point. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is the point that came back. So people were saying... okay, so that last part where this assassin, whoever this assassin was, that they kind of saved and healed and brought back to life. That was that very, very, very last scene. They're like, T'Challa saved him, but he couldn't save his own cousin because his cousin died. They were fighting and then his cousin died. Killmonger died. But see, y'all fell asleep on the movie because T'Challa brought his cousin up because he said, I thought, because he never really got a chance to see Wakanda.
Oh, he did. He brought him up
to the top to take a look at his beautiful land.
He did.
And then he said, it's not too late for you to be healed. Come on in here, somebody. Yeah. And then Killmonger said, what? Put me in the ocean with my ancestors. Even they knew that death was better than bondage. So that's why he let him die. It wasn't like, I'm gonna kill the black man. Like, T'Challa was good.
He was. And you know what? The Bible says he'll give you a way of escape. And he had a way. He didn't have to die, right?
He had a way.
Put one little pebble things.
But see, that go.
A little pebble.
That little pebble was the miracle.
Yes.
But that's what happens when we get so here go to church for y'all. When we get so deep into the enemy's plan, we can't see because we're so, or not even just the enemy's plan. When you get blinded by vengeance, that's what I'll say. When God says, "Vengeance is mine," saith the Lord, you get blinded by vengeance and you can't see. Yeah. You can't see anything.
Yeah. So much hatred in his heart for, his past and what happened to him. He was blinded by it, and it turned him bitter, right? Mm-hmm. And so at the very end, he kind of had his moment of it's beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where he just came to, and even then, T'Challa could have just left him in the subway, their little subway station. Remember?
They had a subway station?
Yeah. Remember?
In Wakanda?
Yes,
where it was like.
You remember the trains?
Yeah,
going?
Yeah.
That was their little subway transportation thing. And so he actually stuck the spear through him down there.
Right. That's what I'm saying. He could have left him there, but he brought him up to be able to see Wakanda. And even after that, they had an opportunity for him to be healed.
Yeah.
No such a thing.
No such a thing. He wasn't interested. He wasn't.
Wow. So I mean, it's been an amazing movie, and I had an amazing opportunity to see it once. I will love to see it again.
Yeah.
So do you have any final thoughts?
I do. So the other thing that I didn't really get a chance to point out was Ruth E. Carter was the costume designer.
Oh yeah, let's shout out the people.
So the costumes were amazing to me. And so when I was reading, just kind of doing
they use
some
so
research,
many Black people for so many things.
They did. They used 100+ designers to get the attire together for this movie. And so not only that, so they went to different parts of Africa and kind of combined all of the some of the tribal wear together, and that's kind of how they came about.
Okay.
Different looks came about. And so I thought it was fantastic. It was magnificent. It was such a display of beauty. And I believe that, it painted such a great picture for us.
Yeah.
So much for us to really kind of digest. Like, I'm still digesting it. Yeah. And I think
it was so much to take in.
It was so much to take in. And I think it was actually a 2-hour and something movie, right?
I don't recall.
Because it was so good.
It was so good.
Most of the time,
a few people told me they fell asleep on the movie. I'm like, how?
You fell asleep?
I know a couple people that tell me they fell asleep on the movie. I'm like, what was going on? I went to go see it at 10:10 at night. I stayed up for the whole thing.
Oh my God. Do you think they were drunk?
No.
I mean, how did you fall asleep? I don't know.
Because it was amazing.
Yeah.
But I think overall, so whatever your kind of belief of the underlying narrative is, it has us talking.
Yeah,
how about that?
It has us in a good way.
It has us feeling real prideful.
Yeah, I agree with that. And so
I do want to ask one other thing.
Yeah.
So do you think people was doing too much? The people who decided to come out with their African garb and the rose petals like Zamunda?
I don't think so. Hey, Erica. No, I don't think so. I think that was their way of paying homage to such a beautiful thing. It's Black History Month.
Any of the other superhero movies, you have people who come in a full Batman costume.
Listen, I'm just saying.
Baby, can I come in my dashiki?
I think you should do whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? I think it's our time to be able to do what we want to do and supporting, coming out. And so let me just say shout out to our community, people in our community and outside of our community for supporting this film. I'm so happy that everybody came out to support it, not just Black people.
400 million now.
Just the first weekend. And I think it's amazing. I hope that, and so we have sent a message to, the box office, not only that, the studios, the producers, Disney, Marvel, all those people that, hey, we need some more stories about us.
Absolutely.
We need to see ourselves depicted in these roles of strength and dignity. And, nobody was hoochie mama in it.
Right.
There was
no stripper. I didn't see not one stripper.
Not one stripper. Nobody was strung out on drugs. No pimps.
People look like they healthy, eating vegan. They did. Skin was right. But you know what else I learned too that I thought this was really cool? This movie was shot in Tyler Perry Studios.
Was it really?
I thought that was, I mean, he got some new stuff. So I love that. So people want to downplay.
He got a piece of the action.
Baby, he did. Yes. And that made me feel good about it because, you know, people want to put down Tyler Perry because he came up on Medea and all of that type of stuff. And they, you know, whatever worked for him. But he's also a smart businessman. He got a piece of this pie.
Amen.
So shout out to that.
Amen. That's fantastic. He got a piece of the pie.
Exactly. I'm looking at, y'all can write it. Yeah, we can write. Yes, ma'am. Wakanda was in, what is it, in the air? I can't read. ATL.
Yeah, it was all in the ATL. And so anyway, it was a beautiful thing. You know, can I be an extra next time? Can I be extra? Exactly. So when they start fighting, I can go.
I'm about to, you know.
Remember that?
Come on.
When they was fighting.
And I know Chad, so I'm gonna see if Chad will do an interview on Saving the City once I get back in my studio. I'm so serious.
Ask him if they need some extras. I want to be an extra. I don't want to be an extra. I want to be a part of the costume crew.
Oh, there you go. I want to be in the circle.
Yeah.
Can we go to Wakanda? So, like, what if we create our own Wakanda getaway? Somewhere we need to capitalize on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is the last thing I said. I keep thinking about this stuff. I love the black people who thought outside the box. So there were a couple groups that set up voter registration.
Oh, I love that.
At the showing. And so people were starting to vote. So there's people that downplay, oh, it's just a movie. Like, when we see a movement, then we need to start thinking, how do we capitalize on this as our community, for our community? Mm-hmm. So there are different types of ways. It makes me feel some type of way, though, when I think about how much money is in our community that we will put into other places, you know. And so that's where it's important for us to not to get so caught up in the fantasy of Wakanda, even though it can't, there are some truth in it, but that we make our own communities, our own Wakandas. You know, buying, not saying that you got to just buy black, but, support your black businesses, support each other. You know, because that's what it was. It was a coming together. If you was a part of, we are all, I don't care what, light skin, brown skin, whatever, we're all a part of one tribe. You know, and so we can support each other. Yeah, I love it.
I agree with that. So what's our wrapping thought? What's our closing?
I know you talked about the broken.
Yeah,
and the identity.
And I think, if we had just kind of one takeaway from this whole thing, it would be, just kind of reflecting on the movie. We're still kind of digesting. It's still new. I just saw it yesterday.
New. Yeah, I saw it Saturday.
I would say that, there are places that are broken in many people's lives, and unresolved issues can result in the feeling of wanting to take revenge or take on a cause that you don't have the strength to fight by yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think that, allowing God to heal you, making sure that you find peace with whatever the situation is, and you take that before God and allow Him to fight your battle for you, and give you wisdom on how to say things. I think that Killmonger did not have to die.
He didn't.
He didn't have to die. And he definitely did not have to die the way that he did.
Yeah.
And so that was a choice for him. He made a choice. Mm-hmm. And he had the opportunity to choose something different, but because he was holding on to such pain and anger, he allowed that to destroy him. In the end, it ended up destroying him.
There are a lot of Killmongers that are walking around, and for me, it just represents a person with great potential, and great power, but's broken.
Yep.
And so we got to deal with the brokenness in our community. We have to deal with the brokenness in our own lives personally, and understand who we are. And you don't have identity outside of the Word of God, and so that's kind of where we want to bring it back to, from a Christian girl's, Christian woman's perspective.
Absolutely.
And so you got to figure out who you are, or else you'll be fighting wars that weren't meant for your hands. So I don't know. I mean, I know we're at Mayfair, but did you want to end with a quick closing prayer?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Excuse me.
So, go ahead.
Oh, Father, in the name of Jesus, we just thank you, Father. We thank you for every person. First of all, we thank you for the brilliant minds that put the Black Panther together, that caused us to have all over this globe, to have such a thought-provoking discussion, regardless of where we stand, Lord God. And we just pray for those that are hurt, that have been wounded by family members, loved ones, Lord God. We pray this world, period, Lord God, that any hurt that we have, Father God, we just give it to you. We cast our cares upon you because you care for us. We thank you, Lord God, that you are the great healer, the great I am. There's no hurt that's too heavy for you. And so we want to just give you praise. We want to extend your love to people who don't know you, who don't know the love of Christ. The beauty in this whole thing is that we know that there is a love that's greater than any love, and that can heal those hurts out there. And so we want to make sure that hey, you're in right standing with God, and if you cannot go to a mother, a father, a sister, or a brother, you can go to God. And so that's our perspective.
Right. That honestly, the word is our Wakanda. I'm telling you, it is. Yeah. It is. That's our place. You know, maybe it's something that's not tangible. You know, that's not something that we can touch in our hands, but it's our way of life. It's what gives us peace that surpasses all understanding. And so I'm thankful for that, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to see things like this, like movies like this, because what it does is it stirs something up in you to be better. Like I said, me knowing Chad, knowing that he graduated from the same class that I did at Howard University, it goes beyond the movie for me. It goes back to me saying, oh, if he did it, I can do it. You know, so it's so much more. So again, like Johonna said, we are so thankful for all the hands that touched this amazing production, and for all of you guys that shared your opinion and your thoughts. That just shows that I can pinch you and we alive. We in this thing. So yeah, you know, so this is what we do on Saving the City. You know, Kingdom Solutions for Real World Issues. We talk about everything that's kind of going on in our world, you know, from church culture to world culture and everything in between. And so we hope that you join us again next week. Who knows what we're going to be talking about, but it's going to be something good.
Who knows? It's going to be good.
All right, it's Iberia and Johonna. We're missing Verdante.
Yeah.
But we'll see you next week. Click finish.